Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's your boys back again live on another Wednesday night. Tonight I'm joined by my good man, Jimmy. What's going on, Jimmy?
It's your boy, Jimbo Dean, a.k.a. Jimbo Slice, a.k.a. Jimmy Obama. Call me any one of those you want, but please do not call me no New Orleans Saints fan. And Deidre should not. Whatever the Falcons have, you need to be at it. Go ahead, JL.
Well, as y'all can tell, we're running a little bit light tonight. We're going to go ahead and start off the show by wishing Mrs. Toby D a happy birthday. He is taking care of his wife, which is always good and always welcome. That's what we like to do around here. So we're definitely going to say happy birthday to her. And then I think Mike D is playing Daddy Daycare, which is, hey, that's just what happens. You know, when you got family, that's what happens. So we didn't have you last week, Jimmy. So now it's just me and you tonight.
Yeah, it's me and you, brother.
We got you back off of vacation fresh and recharged and ready to get some hot Jimmy takes because, like I said, we didn't have your opinion last week with all the Julio Jones stuff that was really popping off. It got into a frenzy last week. So let's just, without burying much of the lead, let me go ahead and get your initial opinions on the Julio Jones stuff, which is still a hot topic here in Atlanta.
It's going to be a hot topic until he actually dealt, right? But I want to get this out here. This is my narrative on the whole situation. And if anybody deserves to go off and win a Super Bowl or win and try to win a Super Bowl, it's Julio Jones for how much he done did for this franchise. Now, I don't want to see him leave. Don't get it wrong. That's our guy. But at the end of the day, one guy don't make a team.
That's it.
If Julio was that one guy that made a team, we have a Super Bowl already.
Right.
It's a collective thing. So I like I said, I'm happy to see that they actually letting Julio have what he want, and they probably get what he want. It kind of looked like a mutual thing to me. But if anybody deserve it, if anybody deserve this chance and this opportunity, it's Julio Jones, because what he have done for us, we should be appreciative as a fan base over in the Atlanta Falcons for all those years and everything he have gave us. And if I ain't gonna never down talk him, I ain't gonna never disrespect him or none of that, because he gave me as a fan for the Atlanta Falcons something to cheer for week in and week out for all those years, and his numbers there is proven. But one player don't make no team. We got to dust it off and keep on moving.
Right. At the end of the day, you know, there's been floated out that the relationship has started to deteriorate between, you know, the front office, well, basically Arthur Blank and Rich McKay and Julio Jones. And it could have very well easily started with the whole, at the end of the season, Arthur Blank's statements more or less talking about how Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, their future was going to be up to the new regime. And, you know, some people might link the fact that that may have rubbed Jones the wrong way. Right, some people were pointing at as far back as 3 years ago when he was negotiating that contract. That kind of got a little chippy, a little ugly. I mean, the Falcons ended up caving and giving Jones, you know, what he wanted. But, you know, in a sense, like that is, you can say that may be the time where Jones's attitude towards the team changed a bit. I don't know Julio Jones, obviously. I've never talked to the man, so I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you, you know, what he's thinking. They're already, you know, kind of already talking about in the comments about, you know, Jones hasn't been traded yet. You know, Woom Carter is saying, do you guys think Julio Jones is smoke and mirrors, even though he went live on TV? I don't think it's smoke and mirrors. What I think is what you're seeing right now is a rookie GM not, or like standing his ground. Like, not to just his players, but also to the rest of the league.
That's a good point.
Like, if you're going to get Jones, you're going to pay for him, so to speak. You're going to meet us on our terms. We're not just going to hand you arguably the best player in the NFL, or, the best receiver by a lot of counts. Even a 32-year-old version of Julio Jones is better than a lot of other receivers out there.
Oh, yeah.
So the Falcons know that. They know that what they have, so they're not just going to give him away for peanuts. Now, the compensation via the reports have been all over the place.
Oh, man. Yeah.
From, a first and a player all the way down to, the compensation is going to be a 4th or 5th round pick,
Yeah.
So there's no telling what they're going to get for him, but I have to think that they're going to get as much as they can, and get the best deal possible.
I'm gonna say, smoke and mirror for what? It's kind of too late for smoke and mirror.
Right.
If you go look at the money and the salary cap, ain't no smoke and mirrors on that. The numbers don't lie. You just go look at that, and I don't know what a smoke mirror right about now gonna do for you. OTAs and mini camp and stuff. What the smoke and mirror is for?
Right.
I don't understand that part.
No, and that's the thing is like everybody around the league, and regardless of who you are, I mean, like, what the Falcons have to do, like, in a sense of, they have to still make cap space, right. Whether it's via trading Julio Jones, possibly extending Grady Jarrett, or what have you. There are things that are going to have to be done to get this rookie class signed and to continue tweaking this roster. I don't think they're necessarily done, with roster tweaks as of yet, which we'll get into here in a little bit. I just kind of wanted to take this opening salvo to talk this stuff, out with you. Hadn't had a chance to talk with you, since you've been on vacation. But that's going to roll into my next point. Let's go ahead and assume Julio Jones is gone, right?
Right.
Because at this junction, at least from our perception, until Julio Jones steps in front of a camera, we have to assume that he's not coming back. Like, regardless. All we have heard from him is that he's out of here, right? So we can only assume at this junction that, he's not playing for Atlanta this year. So, with that being said, it's time to think about what is this offense going to look like sans Julio Jones, right? He's been such a focal point in this, this organization for the past 11 years that it's hard to imagine what it's going to be like with him not here. Well, I say it's not hard for me to imagine. It's hard for some other people to imagine. And I think one of the reasons why it's not hard for me to imagine is because last year for 7 games, we got a big sample size of what it's going to look like without Julio Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And what I'm talking about is the 7 games that Julio Jones was out, that Calvin Ridley had to step into that wide receiver 1. Now I've thrown a graphic up on the screen here that shows other way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Point the other direction. There you go. But
I'm on it.
It shows that Calvin Ridley, without Julio Jones, had 765 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 63% catch percentage, 79 targets with 9.7 yards per target, and 9.4 yards or 9.4 receptions per game. So Calvin Ridley has shown that he is and can be productive without Julio Jones on the field. There's a big narrative that, his production is because Julio Jones draws so much attention. Yeah. Now, that is part of the narrative. That is true. And I'm gonna point to a reason why that is true. But in the last 4 games of the season where Julio Jones was basically shut down, Everybody knew he was shut down. You knew for 4 weeks that you had the game plan for Calvin Ridley being your number one option.
Right.
Okay, other teams had to game plan for that. And in those 4 weeks, the last 4 weeks of the season, he had 469 yards, 2 touchdowns, 66% catch percentage with, let's see here, with 15, little over 15 yards per reception.
Man.
Okay, that's without Julio.
Right.
Right? So there's no reason to think that Calvin Ridley is not a bona fide, solid number one wide receiver. Now, one of the numbers that I'll point at, and then I'm going to step down off my soapbox and and let get your opinions on that aspect. Is
I'm enjoying it. Go ahead. Yeah.
Without Julio or with Julio. Okay, hold on. Let me phrase this right. Let's see. Twice last year, Calvin Ridley had multiple touchdown games. Okay, it was the first and second game of the season. He had 2 touchdowns each. And so without Julio on the field, he's not had a multiple touchdown game. So if you wanted to point at Julio Jones pulling in like so much coverage or so much attention, like that's something that you can point to. I'm sure it bears out that his numbers are probably better with Julio Jones, and of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But what I wanted, like one of the things that I wanted to point at and point to was the fact that Calvin Ridley was drafted in the first round, could easily went to any other team and been a number one, and was drafted with the potential of being a number one here. And you saw it last year, and I think it's going to be put on main display this year.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. And I don't know if we can actually go back and thank Thomas Dimitroff for like getting us ready for this, what we going through right now. And I'm not going to give him that much credit, but at the same time, he was ready for it. And that sooner or later, Julio Jones was going to do this. Sooner or later, he was either going to retire or he was going to want to move on. It's just what the receivers, when you go back on the history of these receivers, kind of what they do. Mm-hmm. Not that Julio Jones been a diva. He been a model citizen for the Atlanta Falcons. But the receivers, they kind of do this, man. And it's just the history of the game when it comes to that position. And if he want to get paid again, he definitely got to. If he want to restructure and get a new contract to go on for extra years, he definitely got to get up out of town so he can get the money that he probably going to want.
Right, and I think that's an underlining issue that you just brought up. I think it is kind of ironic in a sense that had he wrote out his previous contract, if I'm not mistaken, he would have been a free agent this year.
This upcoming year. So
it means he would have been able to cash in with whoever or wherever he wanted.
Right.
But because he fell into the trap of I'm the best receiver, so therefore I need to be the highest paid receiver.
That'll help.
So he pounds the table, gets his contract redone, and still 3 years later, if I'm not mistaken, he's still not the highest paid receiver.
Right, he's not, nope.
Because that's how this stuff works. Cap goes up, people gets paid more. Now, granted, this past year with COVID was a little bit of an anomaly, but it is what it is on that aspect. Mm-hmm. That's how it's always going to go. Is that, you might be the highest paid receiver until the next contract is signed. And that goes with quarterback, defensive, it doesn't matter.
All over the board, yep.
Right. You're the highest paid whatever until the next one's signed. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's part that came out is that he was also potentially looking for a new deal.
Yeah.
Which, a new regime, I can't see them, redoing an entire deal for, a 32-year-old receiver.
Unless they really, really like you, but not at the receiver position.
Right. I mean, how many Larry Fitzgeralds are there really out there who are going to play until almost 40 years old? I mean, I know that quarterbacks are getting into their, playing closer to 40s more often, but wide receivers aren't. That's still an anomaly.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that's our opening salvo. So let's go ahead and jump into the chat a little bit here. Iron Mike says, what up, though? What's going on, Iron Mike? Chris James says, good evening, all. What's going on, Chris? we already answered Woon Carter's question there. Fred Butt says Julio in Atlanta is still very much alive. Him and Arthur are talking. I think Fred, you're referring to that sound clip from Arthur's press conference earlier today at OTAs, where somebody had asked him, I think it was D. Orlando Ledbetter, had asked him, did he expect Julio Jones to be at the mandatory camp, which I believe starts next week, the little 3-day camp before they go on the summer break right before training camp. And Arthur, I mean, I listened to that interview. Arthur didn't really say much of anything. Like,
nope.
Like, he didn't say. It was probably some of the best coach speak or lack of that I'd ever heard. He said that they talked to every one of their players, and so kind of alluding to that maybe they had talked to Julio Jones, but I'm pretty sure the talk is, hey, we're working on getting the best trade we can get for you,
and that's about it.
You know, I don't expect Julio Jones at mandatory camp next week, and I think Arthur Smith would be fooling himself if he thought Julio Jones was going to be there next week.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. So that was Fred. False Start says, "What's up, fam? What's going on?" False. Garrett says, "Man, I hope they figure some out. We love Julio. I mean, yeah, we love Julio. We all do.
We do.
But it seems like he's done with Atlanta. You know, from everything that we have seen, for whatever reason, whether it's management, whether it's just he doesn't think that he has a chance to win here, which is something else we can get into in a little bit. But yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like he is done here. Bug says, "Hi guys, what's going on, Bug?"
What's up, Bug?
Talking about vacation. She is for y'all don't know, you know, Bug's is my better half.
Right.
So, but she's vacationing right now. Left me here to work. No, she
enjoy that vacation.
Yeah, they look like they're having fun down there.
Please enjoy.
Speed Falcon says, "Hey y'all, I'm here." Okay, well good. I'm glad you're here, Speed. Appreciate you letting us know you're here.
That's right.
Wyatt Carlson says, "What do you guys think will be our biggest off-season surprise cut?" Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I haven't gotten into the surprise cuts yet, but you put a name that I suspect to be cut, which is Deidre Sanat. Like, that man who ain't got no game film and should be trying to impress a new coaching staff, isn't there for OTAs.
You should show up to everything. I don't care if they having a luncheon.
I'm about to say, they having a hot dog cookout. You should be rolling hot dogs. Manning the grill, doing whatever you got to do.
DJ Sanat ain't got no excuse not to show up to nothing. He need to be at everything 100%, or what they used to call it, attendance in high school. You need perfect attendance.
Perfect attendance. That's right. So on the spot, my surprise cut would be, how about this? Caleb McGarry.
Caleb McGarry would be a surprise.
Would be my surprise cut.
And you kind of,
you know what I'm saying? Because like you're talking about a former first rounder, you hadn't even gotten to fifth-year option territory yet, but he has struggled. So I guess that would be my surprise cut, and then I'll give you a surprise cut on the defense. I will say Dante Fowler.
That'll be a surprise cut too.
Because they restructured his contract, made it heavily incentive laden. If he comes in and doesn't show what they're wanting,
right?
Then maybe if he gets cut, that would be kind of a surprise to me. So what's your early shots on that one?
Man, you already. Christian Blake will be a very surprise cut.
No, we can't be cutting Christian Blake. You already got that jersey on order, don't you?
Okay, yeah, that was just my guy. I ain't gonna okay.
CB13? Can't be cutting CB13?
I'll be hurt, JR. I'll be real hurt. I have to do a show over that.
Oh man, it'd be a morning show right there. He'd just be dressed in all black. Anyway.
Oh man, I'll be hurt. I need a good thumbnail for that one too.
Oh yeah, I got you, man. I got you.
Okay. My surprise cut on offense will probably be like a Quadrate Olison. I'll be super surprised if they cut a Quadrate Olison. And on the defensive side of the ball, I got to go with Terrell Manor. That
Okay.
defensive end. I'd be surprised if one of those two get cut. I'd be very surprised. You know what I mean?
Those are two good pulls. Those are two
Right.
real good pulls right there.
Right.
All right. Back to the comment section. Terrace Lane says Matt plays better without Julio anyway. There's an aspect that you could call it like what is it, like addition by subtraction? Without Julio there, you can make the argument that Matt Ryan is more. He has to be more open vision. He has to look. You can get on to a point where you could say that Matt Ryan gets laser focused on Julio at times, especially if the game is going rough.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, without him there, that would be interesting to see Matt Ryan like perform without Julio, like completely and utterly, not just like, okay, I can get through this game. No, like he gone, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. Willie Butler says, I wish Julio the best when he finally retires, that he retires as a Falcon. Yeah, I wouldn't mind him doing that whole like 1 day contract. That would be good.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Let's see. Chris Jameson says, with Ridley and Pitts, watch out for Gage to have a breakout year. I think some of the people who can benefit from this whole Julio thing is guys like Gage and Hayden Hurst and Mike Davis. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily in like, catching out of the backfield, but with a more balanced offense, those touches that would be funneled to Julio could now be funneled towards, Mike Davis in the run game. So that's something that I want to, or I'm going to look at, or starting to do research on, as far as that goes.
I like one quick thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like that word balance that you put in there.
Yes.
Now, like we love Julio, but you pluck him out of there. You, like JR said, that full vision, that balance come into play. And defenses ain't going to be one-sided and steered towards playing more, doubling Julio and one side in the field. Now they got to cover the whole field, and Russell Gage could possibly break out, kind of how Kevin Ridley is doing right now, was doing under Julio Jones. We could possibly see that. There's no question about it.
Let's see here. I'm trying to see if I could pull up a quick let's see here. No. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm trying to find. Here it is. Okay. So we talk about targets and stuff like that, and being a more balanced offense. Last year, Matt Ryan attempted 626 passes. 626 passes.
Yep.
That is insane to me.
That's a lot of passes.
That is a ton of passes. That is yeah.
If it's that many, you probably can't be balanced. If you're looking that up, I don't think you balance if it's 626 pass attempts.
Yeah, 626 on the pass attempts. Now, now we're going to look at Ryan Tannehill from the Tennessee Titans last year.
Right.
He attempted 481 passes.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, that's a crazy amount. Like, that's a huge difference in what was expected of Ryan Tannehill to what was expected of Matt Ryan.
Right.
But that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. If you take away those attempts, and now you're not necessarily missing Julio Jones. I know that's weird to say that. I mean, you're going to miss Julio Jones. You're going to miss what he brings to the table and on the field. Dang. But I think with the aspect of reforging this offense into a more balanced attack will lessen the blow, of a Julio Jones being somewhere else. And also something else, folks, keep in mind, Arthur Smith ain't never coached Julio Jones. Mm-mm. And we say, well, Jared, why are you bringing that up? Because he hasn't designed an entire offense around Julio Jones and his abilities. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
He's never coached him. He's never had to coach him. So he's not dependent on what Jones can and can't do. He's going to design an offense for what he has on this roster. And if it's true that Julio Jones was seeking a trade 3 months ago, then Arthur Smith's already been in the lab for 3 months figuring out what he's going to do without Julio Jones.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's something else to keep in mind there. Wound Carter says, I believe with or without Julio, we still have some nice receivers. That's what we were just talking about. Who I feel hungry right now. Exactly. Russell Gage wants to prove himself. He's coming up on a contract, you know. So he's wanting to prove himself.
That's right.
The same thing with Hayden Hurst. He's wanting to prove himself. This new regime declined his 5th-year option.
Right.
So, he's wanting to prove himself. So,
but also Captain Ridley, he have somewhat proved he's a wide receiver 1. Mm-hmm. Now he was still in the shadow of Julio. He also got more to prove. Like he came out and said last year, making targets and making goals for himself before the season started. I can see him wanting to up those goals and up those numbers a little bit more, and also prove that he can be a sustainable number 1. Because it's different between having a number 1, label him as a number 1, but can he sustain that and be consistent in an Arthur Smith offense?
Yeah, no doubt, exactly. And you see that Calvin Ridley, as far as it's been reported, he's been at all the OTAs.
Oh yeah.
So he knows what's in front of him.
Oh yeah.
Whether he got a call from Matt Ryan or even Julio himself, he knows what's going on, and
he do.
And he knows that he needs to show up. He needs to be seen.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Willie Jenkins says Atlanta Falcons just win some games and make it back to the playoffs, please. Hey man, winning heals all.
That's it.
We start winning and we have a good season. People won't be talking necessarily about Julio Jones. We're talking about it now.
Right.
But we start winning some games and shoot. Kojak Mantucket says, what's up, P4P family? Let's go. Let Julio go. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. Willie Doc says, remember Julio wants out. I think the front office would have made it work if he wanted to stay. And that's a possibility. I mean, there's ways that they could create cap,
Oh, no question. Oh, yeah.
So Stu the Pepperhead says, what it do, fam? What's going on, Stu?
What's up, Stu?
Let's see. He says, bye, Jet Jones. Understand, it's just a business. That's it at the end of the day. And Jones knows that. I mean, he's been in the league long enough. He knows that.
One of your favorite quotes there, it's a business.
Just a business. Yeah. Willie Butler says they asked Roddy to take a pay cut, and he didn't. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, he's like, no, dog, what's up?
Yeah, them receivers are not.
No, man, they trying to get paid.
They need their money. They want their money now, too.
That's right. They got to live. They live. Look good, play good, so live flashy, play flashy? Is that what we're going to adapt it? Let's see. Bug responded, says, we are enjoying it. Please keep working hard. I'm going to try. I'm going to hold it down. Anyway, says, right. It's a Ryan Wonder says, Caleb McGarry cut, surprise, it would be a blessing. Well, hold on now. Look, we give everybody at least 3 years, and yeah. McGarry's going into his 3rd year. And now you got arguably one of the best offensive line coaches in all of football as your offensive line coach, and Dwayne Ledford. So, I ain't done on McGarry yet.
He wouldn't know better. He wouldn't know worse than that left guard position. That left guard position was a turnstile.
It was now, that.
McGarry had his struggles, but man, that left guard was a turnstile. He wasn't as that bad, but hey, it'll be a surprise cut, like JR said, in my eyes too.
There you go. Fred Butts wants to know why, or he said, what I don't understand is why Julio wants to leave when he finally has an offensive head coach. Because, I mean, whether it's the whole disrespect thing, the somewhat diva mentality, whether it's loud and proud or not, is what it is. Or it could be just as simple as, he don't feel like that this roster is going to do anything. I mean, he has a right to his opinion, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Ray Station says, what's up, fam? I mean, I like that name, Ray Station.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. So, what's up, fam? Sorry I'm late. Hey, man, better late than never. We are glad you are here.
You are here, and that's the only thing that matters.
That's it. He says, Frank Darby, wide receiver 3, question mark. Oh, can he push your CB13?
And that's what I'm afraid of. But, hey, look here, CB3. You just got to keep on CB13. You just got to keep on doing what you're doing. Now, Frank Darby is a talent. Do not get it twisted, man. And I like the way they did this. I like the way they added depth to create more competition.
Right.
I love how this thing is starting to stack on top of each other. And like you said, JR, I don't think they're done. They're going to add more competition, and I think they see it as that more than just a depth piece. I think they see it more as competition. And I would not be surprised if Frank Darby get in there.
I mean,
and
you
start
got
pushing
like
that wide receiver 3.
Yeah, as far as like, okay, we're operating under the assumption that Julio is gone, right? So Calvin Ridley gets into your wide receiver 1. Gage, depending on how you view it, like Gage is definitely more of your slot receiver. So if you consider a slot receiver to be your de facto wide receiver 3, then maybe somebody like a Frank Darby could be a 2, could be that other boundary, outside wide receiver.
Yeah.
But also don't overlook Tajay Sharp, who they brought. He has previous relationship with Arthur Smith, so he knows what Arthur Smith likes to do. He had his best years under Arthur Smith, so he could creep up into that, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, depending on like how you want to label them, right? But if you want to talk about like at the end of the season, who has the second most receptions on the game or on the team, I think it's going to be Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight end, I think.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be Kyle Pitts. So, if we're going to list it like offensive weapon 1, 2, and 3 kind of deal, I think, 1 and 2 is going to be Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
And then past that, it's going to be, a toss-up if Darby comes in and actually like impresses, or if Christian Blake impresses, because you also still have Alameda Zacchaeus still on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some options that have some rapport with Ryan already that are on the roster, but you can't discount the new regime, their draft picks, and their guys that they already have ties to.
Right.
So let's keep on rocking here. Joseph says, we're going to be a sleeper team this year, mark my words. I mean, with an easier schedule, if they gel quick enough,
oh man,
you could sneak into, especially with the expanded playoffs, you could, sneak your way in. But a lot is going to have to go right for that to happen this year, in my opinion.
Right, and they got to start. Well, they got to start gelling like
right
now.
off the rip.
They need to be getting it done like right now. Like Dejan Chanat, and I'm sorry I'm beating that dead horse, but Dejan Chanat, you can't be missing stuff, because this is a pivotal time for a new regime, new players, and everybody starting to gel. You need to hit the ground running come September, and not starting to trying to gel then, because you're gonna be behind the 8 ball.
Right.
And if they doing that, we're definitely gonna be a sleeper team and a team to be dealt with especially with this schedule. No question about it.
Yeah, I think the schedule, at least on paper, sets up favorably for them to have a good bounce back season. If not, sneak into. I think sneaking into the playoffs is the ceiling. Even if you find your way in, I think it might be a tall task to, ask to get, to make a deep run the first year. Now, starting, next year, I'm going to be expecting like in the playoffs, deep run type stuff myself.
Me too.
Let's see where we're at. It's a Ryan Wonder says 600 plus passes is all on the offensive coordinator that we shall not name in his playbook. That is true. That's the thing. That's why the title of this particular live was talking about, reforging this offense into more of a balanced attack. There is a stat that I pulled. I tweeted it out. And, if y'all aren't following us on Twitter, man, you really should, because I'm definitely trying to get into some more hijinks on Twitter. They have this new thing called like Twitter Circles, where you can launch, and it's basically like a group chat. So I'll be doing that kind of stuff from time to time. So yeah, if y'all aren't following us on Twitter, you definitely should do that.
Definitely.
But one of the deals I had pulled out on Twitter, let's see here. I'm going to scroll. It was talking about the yak yards Okay. Yeah, here it is. Our yak yards or yards after the catch per reception under Dirk Cutter last year was 4 yards per reception. And Tennessee, in less opportunities, had almost a full yard better than us.
Right.
On per reception. So I think that's a testament to the scheme that Arthur Smith runs. One of the things that he does well is create space, for his receivers, tight ends, whoever to operate in. So that's something that I feel like, with reforging this offense, that's something that's going to come into play heavily.
And with the scheming open, like you said, almost kind of throw into a spot. Once you catch it, you got space to work with.
Yep.
Unlike that OC that we had, we ain't calling no names. It was kind of dead on. My man, like me and JR was talking about before we got on live. My man beat your man, and when it comes to that, it's gonna be tight throws. But if you got a scheme open, you throw it to that spot, you got a better chance of getting more yards after the catch, and that's kind of why. And like you said, JR, they had like 200 less more passing attempts than we had, but they had a whole 4 yard more in yards after catch, which is kind of sums it up for our new head coach being our OC. Kind of sums it up what we getting, man.
And that's the thing that I think that you take a receiver like a Calvin Ridley, who is already so good at creating separation in his routes.
Ooh,
as far as how he operates on the field, he's already so good at that. And then now you add on a coach who is scheming players open.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we're going to start seeing like the best of Ridley, and especially like early on, Ridley's going to have to prove, and I think he's already proven a bit to be able to beat the double teams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as soon as like Kyle Pitts gets ramped up and gets going, those two are going to open up so much more for the Gages and the Hursts the Sharps and the Darbys and whoever else comes along, that I think this is going to be a fun offense to watch.
I think so.
Very reminiscent to the 2016 season. Like you had the amount of systems that Arthur Smith has been under in working in Tennessee. He's gotten a chance to be under, the Mike Mularkey and his, exotic smash mouth. He's got, has gotten to be under, Matt LaFleur with his his Shanahan tendencies.
Right,
so he's gotten to see that stuff and experience and then design his own, unique, balanced approach. And balanced is a big thing, for the past 2 years up there in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. Let's go. Tom Snow says when the cap goes up $30 million next year, Ridley's going to get paid. Yeah, I mean that's going to be yet another way that they're going to create. They've already picked up Ridley's 5th-year option, but that they're probably going to go ahead and start trying to work towards extending him. And the same thing with Grady Jarrett. That's going to do those two moves right there are going to be able to create more cap space.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rodney Brown says, I know we still sign the draft class with the cap relief, but can we use some of that money to get another defensive player like Melvin Ingram? Yeah, that was something that somebody posed on Twitter to me a couple days ago. Yeah. And, there's some very interesting names out there. I'm going to see if I can – the power of the intronets. I'm going to –
I think they had Ingram in there and Justin Houston in that tweet. I seen that tweet that they shot at JR. And they ain't done. They could possibly still work this thing. If that Julio Jones trade happened like we think it is, it's definitely going to be some more people added. It's no question about that.
Right. I mean, you got, let's see, Brian Poole's still out there if you feel like you need some cornerback help. Melvin Ingram, obviously. Let's see, edge-wise, Olivier Vernon is still on the market.
Yeah.
Let's let's see. Jarrell Casey is still out there. I don't think you're going to pick up a Jarrell Casey just because of the comments Dean Pease made in comparing Grady Jarrett to Jarrell Casey.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was the tweet was like, oh, do you think we'd pick up Jarrell Casey? I don't think so. And just because I believe they feel like, that they've got that type of player already on roster.
Right.
But you got Trent Murphy out of Buffalo. I don't think you'll go with it, especially since you've drafted Richie Grant, but Kenny Vaccaro's still out there.
Yeah, I'm
now one of the interesting ones, if you don't think that left guard is looking good, Trey Turner is still out there.
Still out there.
So if you get this, if you make this move happen and sign your draft class, I could see him bringing in, somebody like a Trey Turner. Trying to see who else offensive guard wise. I don't know much about Joe Dahl. He's still out there. Nick Easton from New Orleans, like Terry Fontenot would be familiar there. Somebody's asking about, do you think we would bring back DeQuez Denard? I mean that's possible, but I don't think so because you could have signed Denard for what you signed Fabian Moreau for.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
And I'm just not comfortable with Denard coming back. I bring Poole back before I bring back Denard. It's something about Denard I was watching last year. I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
No, I agree. I'm with you there about not really feeling Denard. I would take Julio back just because if you look at how Dean Pease used Logan Ryan, blitzing and stuff like that. That was something that Brian Poole excelled at while he was here. So, if he comes back cheap, I would be on that.
No question about it. And some of these guys are kind of asking, in that list, some of these guys are kind of asking for a little bit too much.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's going to be some of these guys are going to have to wait and see if any injuries or anything happen during camp. That's this kind of free agent group that's kind of sitting right there waiting.
Yep.
And then they'll get their spiel.
I mean, technically speaking, if you really wanted as far as corner goes, Richard Sherman's still out there.
Yeah.
If you think he's got anything left. Edge-wise, which I think we could use edge help. You got Alex Okafor is still out on the market. Jabal Sheard is still out on the market. But anybody that, like, edge-wise that you sign right now isn't going to light your world up. I mean, you can bring back Vic Beasley on a vet minimum.
Vic Beasley, where he at right now?
He's sitting on the couch right now.
That's where he can stay at.
So that's where he can stay.
Yeah, he got a shape and gained all that weight. I'm good. Go ahead, JR. We good on that.
I got you. Okay.
All right. On a vet minimum. Oh, no.
No, I ain't going to do it, huh?
I wouldn't even give him that.
Ghost Pepper says, we will use more play action, misdirection, and pre-snap motions than we've seen in the last 4 years. Smith is also known for putting people in advantageous positions to win their matchups. Yeah, exactly. That was the part that initially had me very excited about Arthur Smith way back when before we signed him, because I saw what he was doing with what he had up in Tennessee, and maybe that showed me a coach who is willing to adapt. And that's what I wanted, And after listening to a handful of different podcasts and stuff with Dean Pease, he is a coach that is willing to adapt. And after watching as much film as I've watched, man, I was starting to think that I was a Tennessee Titan fan. Good Lord. These last few weeks.
I'm going to show up with a Tennessee Titan hat on.
Apparently, yeah, I felt like it. Calling plays. But after watching Titans, like him versus what he did with the Ravens. I mean, yeah, Dean Pease is adaptable, and I like that. That's what I like. For far too long, we've had some very stubborn coaches.
Yes, indeed, I agree.
And so finally having some, what I feel like is some adaptable coaches, that is something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and I remember when this coaching search first kicked off. And that was your main words, innovation and adaptivity. That's what we need.
That's
and
we
got it now, Atlanta Falcon fan, pound ATL family. We have that now.
That's
so
it.
Get ready.
To Evolve says, she'd to be honest, no, Ion, oh Lord.
Uh-oh.
Even have a playbook, but I probably could scheme up. Okay, he's saying he ain't got a playbook, but he could probably better scheme up better plays than Dirk did. Like I said, I think Dirk was very much stuck in a concept of I'm gonna let my best player beat your best player. Like I think that's how he operated, and at least that's the way it seemed to me. And
Right.
in this day and age, that's not enough. That's just not good enough. Everybody's faster, stronger, smarter, all that stuff. You know, these guys that are playing in the NFL, they're eating football from the time they're 2 all the way up. You know what I'm saying? So,
and the technology they have now to help them watch film.
Oh yeah,
and
watch film,
notice
be in better
attention and stuff.
shape, and
Oh man, you can't do that stuff these days. You
Right.
get beat time and time again, kind of like we did.
that's it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Steele says, any defensive centered packages for Julio. I think maybe he's talking about like player wise. I've seen a lot of people like floating out like getting J.C. Jackson. I know that our friend of the show, Adam Holloway, he pounds the table for Harold Landry from the Titans.
Tennessee.
Yeah. So
That'll be a good one.
yeah, I mean, and they may not be very high on him. He didn't have a good year when Pease left. Like his production went down quite a bit. So
I would definitely like somebody in that Julio package, though. I
would
definitely
like
love
the
a player
idea
in
of
the
getting,
package.
the idea of getting a starter, in that trade, I think would make it a little better in my opinion. You know, like, but I mean, I would take a second or third round pick if you gave me a defensive starter as well, for sure.
Yep, and you got to be on the defensive side of the ball.
I think so.
Yep.
You know, unless it's like I'm trying to think of who, like on like a rock solid offensive lineman or
they'll give us Sambralo.
I don't want Sombrero. I don't want Sombrero. But look, I think Sombrero was the reason, or Sambrilo. I keep saying Sombrero.
Same thing.
I know it. I think the reason why he was as serviceable as that was the reason why Smith ran 13 personnel as much as he did. Like, you go back and watch where those tight ends lined up, and it was on his side quite a bit.
Had to.
I mean, we know what he is. We saw him here.
Yep.
Eric McDowell says, I think we will have a top 5 defense. I think there's a good possibility that we will have not top 5. He said top 15. I'm sorry.
Top 15.
Sorry, I read that wrong. I think that we could have a league average defense or close to a league average defense, in my opinion. And a lot of that has to do with, again, I know we're harping on a lot, but like, you knew what kind of coverage we were in.
Man.
Like, before they broke huddle almost.
Yep.
Like, you knew it was either going to be coverage 3 or cover 1. That was it. There was no disguising anything. There was like, there for a little while, you know, early in his tenure, Quinn was running like stunts and twists, and they were effective with the, you know, athletic defensive linemen we had.
Mm-hmm.
But then they kind of got away from that stuff. Or they ran it so much that teams were picking it up like that.
Hey, they knew it was coming. Yeah.
You know, and they knew it was coming, so it was easily to defend from a offensive perspective, you know, aspect. Again, I think on innovation alone, we could get back up into league minimum.
I think so.
League average.
And league average is way better than what we done had. And it'll do everybody some good if we can get that. And I think we're gonna get it. And he ran cover 3 more than he ran man, which I didn't get either. But hey, it's a new regime now, so that's the past. We in the future now. It's time that gonna change dramatically. I know that.
Oh man, for once in a while, Nick Bungalow is actually in chat with us. He says Julio ain't going nowhere. He says, I love smart Arthur Smith's mentality. Now, I will say this. First of all, that first statement, Julio Jones he's gone. I mean, I can't see it happen. Like I can't see it going any other way. But anyway,
Can't let it go.
to your point about Arthur Smith's mentality, I do like the quotes that I'm hearing out of him. The few times that I've actually sat down and listened to, his interviews, he does seem like a hard-nosed, no-nonsense coach, which I think is something that this team desperately needed.
Yeah.
Like the brotherhood was good, but the brotherhood works when you're winning.
Only when you're winning.
The brotherhood doesn't necessarily get you through adversity per se.
Mm-hmm.
Because, once you quit fighting as a family, I guess you could say, then you start kind of looking at each other like, why ain't you doing your job? Or why ain't you doing your job? So, far as I've heard now, I haven't heard any kind of quote that you could put on a t-shirt, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, I like that part.
So, from what I've heard, I'm enjoying the mentality of Arthur Smith. He seems like he has an old school approach, but with a new school like mindset as far as like the actual X's and O's of it.
Yeah, that brother. Only thing the brotherhood did was got a lot of people paid
Oh,
handsomely too. So that they was brothers in that part.
Yeah, they got
not
some
on
money.
the field no more. Yeah, they got paid.
Let's see here. I saw a good quote says, can we trade Julio for Deshaun Hand? Where's Deshaun Hand at? Is he up there in Detroit still? I can't
I don't
remember.
know. Sean Hand, yeah.
But somebody made a comment earlier that said, we all talking more about trading Julio to a playoff team. That somebody said trade his bum butt to like the Cowboys or the Jags or something. Let him finish out his career.
Oh man, y'all doing him like that now. Just pump the brakes on that now. Julio deserves better. But if you want to treat him like you think he's treating you, you do what you got to do. I know Bill Belichick wouldn't trade nobody to nobody in the division.
Nope.
You were not going there. You were going where he wanted you to go. And if you feel like that's what you want to do, Terrio, you got the right to do so. If it's looking good.
At the end of the day, what I want is to get the best return.
Me too.
Like if we're letting Julio Jones go to a different team and potentially retire on it in a different jersey, then I want the best compensation possible.
Yep.
That's it.
Definitely I definitely want the better side of the deal. No
that's
question.
it. Yeah, exactly. Fred Butts talking about the Pats are offering first round pick and Sony Michel. I don't know if I've heard I think I've heard that being floated as an idea.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I mean, you give me J.C. Jackson. Chris Jameson says J.C. Jackson and a second or third would be great. Yeah,
That'd be fine.
You give me J.C. Jackson, but if you're gonna give me somebody like Sony, who's got some knee issues, who I don't think is in it for the long haul, so to speak, then you better give me a first with it.
Right.
Like I'm not taking. The only way I'm taking less than a first is if you're giving me a defensive starter. So, Fall Star Falcon says Arthur Smith is going to bring that BDE. I think he's talking about that big dog energy.
Bring it on. Look here. That offense don't need that much more big dog energy, but he's sure going to give it to him. So
That's
bring
right.
it on. Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Okay. 2 says no fanboyism. Julio is a pro professional. Ergo, if he suits up in a Falcons uni, I'm cool with that. That's business, folks. Yeah, straight up. Like I root for who's on his team. Like flat out.
Right. That's
like
right.
At the end of the day, I got a Julio Jones jersey, over there in my closet. Yep. But if he suits up for somebody else, then I'm no longer worried about what his career does.
Right.
So
that's right.
I wish him the best in the sense of I wish anybody the best.
That's right. That's what we do.
Marin says we should have drafted Deshaun Hand instead of Deidre Sanat. We should have drafted anybody instead of Deidre Sanat.
Deidre Sanat, you need to be at practice. you stop missing stuff. I cannot believe I see his name on those list of players. I really could not believe that. That really threw me off. I had to tweet out and say, Deidre Chanat, you should be there. Stop missing stuff. And this hand guy, I need to look into him because a lot of y'all are bringing that name up. I need to look into this, but definitely Deidre Chanat, you don't miss nothing, brother. Get perfect attendance. Get perfect attendance.
Yeah, somebody's like over here talking about send Julio to the Jets and see how he acts. Send him to the Jets, or I wonder how his hamstrings would deal with Buffalo winter.
Oh, it's gonna be cold, man.
You know, I wonder if they roll up like a rubber band.
It's gonna be cold. Julio gonna have to be out there an hour and a half early, warming up, getting ready to go in that cold weather because it's gonna be nice and tight out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Willie Doc says the coaching staff will scheme players into position to succeed and not simply rely on talent alone. That's the part that has me excited. If y'all hadn't had a chance to go back and watch some, Tennessee Titans 2018, 2019, when Smith was calling plays, that's the part that has me excited. The route concepts out of the same formations, the lining up initially in what looked like, the same formation, and then you motion this guy out or motion that guy out, and all of a sudden you got, I think Toby did a video on like a 3x1, set with a bunch of formation and stuff like that. So, yeah, I really like what Arthur Smith brings to the coaching staff, or his mind. The interesting part is I wonder how Dave Ragone factors in. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question. I wonder what kind of role and what kind of input he's going to have on Sundays when it comes to Arthur Smith running thing. And I think it's going to kind of be like Eric Bieniemy and Coach Reed type of relationship on Sundays. And I can see, and I think he's more there for Matt Ryan mindset on how the whole game plan gonna come together and how it's gonna play out on Sunday. That's what I think Ragone is there for.
I think between him and was it the QB coach Charles Landon, I think is his name, the new QB coach. He was a former running backs coach that now is transferred into QB coach. He came over with Ragone, so I think that's a. I will say this, though. I was watching those OTA videos, and it was interesting seeing Matt Ryan standing out there with A.J. McCarron and Felipe Franks.
Oh, boy.
It was odd not to see Matt Schaub for the first time in forever.
And Ben Kurt.
And Ben Kurt. So that was
kind of odd.
That was interesting. Something I noticed today while watching the clips from the OTAs. Let's see. Genuine Muse says, Falcons or nothing. He did the Falcons a good deed. I think he's talking about Julio. Says, I was a Falcons fan before I was a Jet fan. So what's up with week one? Exactly. That's it. I'm going to root for who's on this team.
That's right.
Hayden Hughes says, I'm excited for special teams. Well, that's interesting. He says Patterson returning kicks and Avery returning punts. Yeah, I think we have a real chance for this special teams and the return game to be a dynamic aspect that we haven't had in a while. And, since the 1 year we have with Devin Hester.
Yeah,
that was the last time I remember, getting excited about, oh man, we got a kickoff, let's see what happens here.
Let's see because something could possibly happen. And that's a real fan right there. That's a real fan right there, Hayden. If you're excited about special team, we got a good special team coach that came over from Detroit. And look here, this kind of shows us that we got to hit it from every aspect.
Mm-hmm.
We lost a couple of games last year simply off of special team play. The watermelon roll in Dallas, the name one of them. So we can get excited about all three phases of the game with this new regime, man. We can get excited because a lot of stuff that has happened in the past, I'm pretty sure they try not to let it happen this year. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I would like to go back and see, I don't know how, other than extensive amounts of staring at data, could you figure out, how many games were won and lost, by a special teams play? In the sense of, extra yardage. How many times did, especially in 2016, it seemed like every time we got the ball, it was within our own 5 or 10 yard line.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like we were having to march the full length of the field all the time. So, if we can get a solid special teams game going to where we don't have to, go the full length of the field every time, that would be a blessing.
Sure will.
Let's see here. Ghost Pepper says, it's not about who's treating who. It's about getting the best offer in return for our Falcons regardless. Time to change this culture towards no-nonsense direction and stop being a doormat. That's another aspect. Like, as much as we might want to talk about it, yay or nay, like, you had 3 losing seasons in a row. Something's got to give.
Something got to change.
Something got to change. You can't just keep rolling with the exact same roster and, the exact same mentality. Because, you might bring in a new coaching staff, but if you have predominantly the same players, you may still have that same mentality.
Yep.
Of, oh, well, here we go. We're about to blow another lead again.
Yep.
GA Pyro Dog is giving us Hawks updates. It is currently 18-13. Go Hawks. Yeah, see,
let's go Hawks. Yeah,
that's right. Let's go. That's all right. Let's go ahead and just finish them out. Finish them out
Finish
up there in the
them
garden
out.
and be done with it. And silence those. We got a new number 11 to root for. And
that's right.
And Trey Young over there.
That's right. Old Iceman.
He's apparently a professional ish talker too. So
that's what I heard.
That little dude be running his mouth.
I heard he's one of the biggest trash talkers in the league. I said, what?
Little tiny scrawny dude gonna run it. Well, I mean, that's that Napoleon syndrome.
That's it.
I had it until I started bulking up. Like, then I was just bigger than people. So
Hey, but I heard somebody say it ain't trash talk if you can back it up, and that he do.
That's it, and he backs it up. So I give it to him on that.
Yeah.
But Jimmy, we done it. We have bumped up over an hour. That's crazy.
Man. Woo.
Somebody's asking who the Hawks play next. I don't know if they win today. Would it be?
They're gonna be the Sixers or the Nets.
Sixers or the Nets. Okay.
One of the two. It depends on.
What about the Miami? No, did the Bucks knock out Miami?
Yeah, but I think it'll be the Sixers or the Nets. It's gonna be one of them two, I think.
GA Pyro's over here saying Philly. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. It probably be Philly.
Basketball is not something I keep up with a ton. Like I want to see the Hawks win. Obviously, like I'll check the score and be like, good job, guys.
That's right, baby.
I may watch a highlight here or there. But I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. It was kind of a slow news day. I was really hoping that the trade was going to drop. Yeah, I was kind of, I mean, come on. I was hoping it was going to happen. But anyway,
the same thing.
As always, y'all can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Like, check out, look for the circles. What I think that's what they call it. Jump in there and chat with me. Jimmy?
At Jimmy Obama, JIMMYOBAMA. I'm finna go watch this Hawk game.
There you go.
Hey, man, good show.
All the supporting links are in the show notes as far as underneath. You can Patreon, merch, whatever y'all want to do. It's all up under there. Go follow our guys, Toby and Mike Dub, and we'll probably be back to full strength next week. But at the end of the day, let's go Falcons, and definitely let's go Hawks. So
that's right, baby.
As always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.